Hey, what's going on, everyone? It is Super Plays. Welcome back to a continuation of not TSJ talks, but it's going to be Super Talks from now on. But I am joined by Ryan and Brendan, and we are going to be chatting all about our expectations for Medieval 3, Total War Medieval 3, what we would like to see, what we hope that Creative Assembly avoids doing, and a couple other things, topics that kind of found their way into the conversation as well. So definitely let us know in the comments down below what you thought of this video. We actually read the devlog after recording this video, and so actually it seems like a lot of the things that we want to see will hopefully be in the final product. That is, of course, several years away. Also, I apologize for any audio kind of white noise in the background, something I'm still working on in my surrounding environment, but hope you enjoy the discussion. Different, like, what are the expectations we have? What do we want to see in it? How do we think it will be? Is it going to be something that they will? I mean, you see some people in the Discord say, they're, or even on the Reddit or the Facebook page. I think you guys are in those. There's some skepticism. I know, Ryan, you had said that it's the same
Oh
team who
yeah,
made.
I
So why don't you? So
uh
why don't you start us off, Ryan? What do you think? What are
okay.
your general view?
So I have low expectations. And the reason why I have low expectations is because in the last two historical um games, I would say quote unquote historical because they've done Troy, which is basically mythology. They've done Pharaoh, which is supposed to be Bronze Age, but it's really also mythology. Um, However, they brought on the team just from reading and going in other chats and stuff. They've said it's the same. It's Sophia, which is essentially just another team that did those two games. So they're a little. I'm a little skeptical, but I also have very low expectations because those two games, for historical quote, have bombed
Mm-hmm.
in terms of public opinion.
Sure.
So I I have low hopes. I think they're just trying to put it out there because it has been talked about so often, and it's coming up on their 25th anniversary or 20th anniversary of the Medieval 2.
Mm-hmm.
So I think they're trying to get in the hype of that. They just had their 25th anniversary, I think, of the company, um, for their Total War series. So I want it to be good. I have high hopes it will be good, but I have low expectations that they will meet my expectations.
Sure. Sure. Brendan, what do you think? Are you excited? I know literally just last night when we were chatting, you said I might have to consider getting a new PC if they announce this, and guess what? They announced it. So what are your take on this?
My take is I hope it's not another Civ 7. I said the same thing for Civ 7, and then that game came out, and it disappointed me thoroughly. I'm probably in the same boat as Ryan, honestly, in that I think this is kind of the trump card, and that like they needed some excitement, and so they whipped out the thing they know everyone wants. And I hope because of that they take the time and effort it requires to actually make a good game, because I feel like they're putting all their eggs in this basket at this point. So I'm just hoping that with that in mind, they can actually make something we'll all enjoy and not just keep treading the wheel of what it feels like they're pumping out the same like 7 out of 10 type of game over and over again. But
Sure.
like I haven't played a lot of the recent ones, so
Mm-hmm.
I'm also a little out of the loop. So I didn't know the team that was building it or like the quality of the games they've made because I haven't played many of the modern ones. But
Right.
I'm hoping this can kind of bring me back as an old fan to reintroduce myself to the series.
So you're saying there's a chance you might get a new build just to.
I mean, the game's in pre-production, right? So it's probably not like another 5 years. So by then, hopefully the AI thing is going down. I can actually afford a PC again, but we'll
It
see.
is that what we're looking at? You think like 5 years out? That's what I've seen people say.
I
Pre-production.
mean, that's kind of the standard for a game nowadays, like 5 to 6 years from pre-pro to release.
Yeah, because they'll go
Unless
into
you're like
early
a,
access potentially with it on
that's true. I didn't
Steam.
even think about that. Do they
So
does
they,
Creative Assembly do early access builds?
I don't
I don't think
think
so.
so.
Wouldn't
Yeah.
surprise me for this. It wouldn't surprise me with this one because of the feedback they've gotten prior. and they're not releasing it as a end date. They're saying it's in pre-production, so they're doing this way before, like, because other games would come out within 6 months. That game is going to be on the market. The last two, right? The Pharaoh and Troy, right?
Hmm.
So this one's saying it's in pre-production. This is going to be on a completely different engine. They're going to do a bunch of new work on that. So I think we're going to have another. I really don't hope it's a GTA moment. Of
Right.
just like it's going to take a while for them to come out with it, because
Or like
they're
an
doing
Elder
a whole
Scrolls
new
moment.
engine.
That's what I
They
was
announced the
just
game and
thinking
tell
that.
us later.
I was thinking that this gave me.
I'll be like 30 when that comes out.
Oh yeah, we're gonna be in our mid-30s probably when this game comes out. Yeah, I mean, and I did get that vibe too when I saw this, and I sat with it for a little bit. I was like, it's kind of like I was like, okay, when's the release date? Maybe like a year, 2027. No, not even a release date. So I, so that's okay. Well, so you kind of mentioned one of you kind of like this is going to be gonna bring back some older time fans. So since let's see, so Ryan, did you play Pharaoh or Troy? Did you play any of those or like install them or?
I had installed them. I had watched more videos on the gameplay, and then I returned them after watching said gameplay,
Right.
because it didn't meet the kind of joy I got from, or like the gameplay stuff like Rome 2 or Medieval 2 or I'm a diehard Empire fan.
Sure.
Go Darkmon, but I I those two games, they lacked, like, oh, they look kind of pretty, right? They had good stuff, but the content, I felt like that it just pulled me out of it, especially with the mythology stuff. So I
Right.
don't think they're gonna have that for this, which I'm hoping they don't. All they literally have to do is basically copy Medieval 2's gameplay, slap a nice pretty picture on it, and that's your sold. You will gain so many more people.
Well-
but I know they won't do that. They'll add something brand new, or they'll
Sure.
fuck it up.
Well, let's
Pardon
talk
my
about
French.
no, let's talk about that. What are some features that just like off the top of your head? I know this was kind of a last minute thing, but just what are some things you're like, okay, we know that there should be new graphics. Obviously, they're building a whole new. I think Ryan, you had said, and I read somewhere they're building a whole new engine, the Warscape or something like that.
Something like that, yeah.
Something like that, yeah. So then, what do we want to see in this new Total War beyond just new graphics? Thinking like map features, economy, politics, like anything that can kind of come to mind. Brendan, what do you? Anything that is it just? Could it just be like, okay, just upgrade graphics, that's it, or is there something in particular you're like, this would be kind of interesting if they add this feature? What do you? Anything come to mind?
I mean, I kind of alluded to it last night when we were talking, but I would love to see more options in the game outside of combat and conquering in order to succeed in the map. Because I feel like Total War games are a little straightforward, or a little too straightforward, where you just kind of build a stack, go to the next city, replenish that stack, go to the next city, and that's kind of the whole game you want it to be.
Hmm.
And I'd love for them to steal some ideas from like Crusader Kings or Civ, like things where you can build up your economy.
Europa 5.
Look
at Europa
Yeah,
5
yeah.
now. Yeah,
that's a good example too. Like exactly, like give you more options outside of combat to like build up your empire or like leverage your position in the world over other nations. Just a little more variety, I guess, is what I hope to bring to the table.
Sure. Ryan, want to build off that? Anything in particular?
So I agree. I think Rome 2 and Attila started that by introducing like building options and a better rounded like map visually. I think Rome Remastered tried to fix on some of the graphical issues by making it look pretty, right? But I think my expectation is, I think with it being a new engine, I think they're able to put more detail in the map, but also I wanted to see it as, because of Medieval 2, it pretty much goes up to the 14, I would say almost the 1400s. And you're starting to get into the age of exploration. right?
Mhm.
So you do see the Aztecs, you do see the Maya. Um, I would nice to see the map actually kind of expand on like Empire did on either a larger scale map where you have Asia, India, um, in terms of like potentially doing that. But that's more 1600, but more of maybe they add in like say because they had Medieval 2 America, right, for Medieval 2
Yeah,
for their DLCs, right?
Mhm.
Putting more into the America stuff, right? You can go to a new theater by doing it, but it's a whole like adding in that extra map,
oh yeah,
right?
like make colonialism like an entire feature. Yeah, that'd be
Yeah,
awesome.
yeah, because you're going into it, so they could up to medieval, and pretty much go up to like maybe the fall of Constantinople
Mhm.
as like the cutoff, right? Essentially the fall of the Romans in that sense, right? In 14, there's a 14. I can't remember the date. I'm not great on that one. But you could go to exploration 1492 or 1500, right? End it right at the end of like beginnings of Renaissance, right? It ends the medieval period. It goes into the Renaissance, right? You kind of end it there. Um,
Right.
but I'd like to see a little bit more fleshed out on the map side of it. I feel like you said, it gets kind of dull. You build your army, you then send the army out, you kill basically conquer cities, right? But it's very um I don't know, stagnant
Repetitive.
because we
Yeah.
yeah it's yeah right, you're just doing the same thing, right? And it's basically my stack's bigger than your stack. um at the end of the day, right? I can just wipe you at the end game, right? But it should be more additive of like Crusader Kings, or additive, not Crusader Kings, yeah, Crusader Kings, is it Crusader Kings, yeah. And
Yeah.
Europa, like I just started Europa 5. I'm really liking the detail they've added in terms of country building, in
Mhm.
terms of that, on top of some of their stuff is more on country building than it is on the combat side. I'd like to see Total War add more of this country building aspects instead of more of the military. I don't know, like a good blend. Like you want to feel
Mhm.
that type of growth, I guess, in their
No, I
expectations.
totally agree with that though, because there's some medieval 2 games where I'll stop conquering just to build infrastructure and try and make like the richest nation. So I'm having more fun doing that than sending out stacks.
Right.
And so like having a game that like actually benefits that playstyle or like encourages you to do that would be really fun.
Sure. So it sounds like there's kind of a consensus that there needs to be a a good mixture. Like they have the warfare down. That's obviously what it's known for, what it's built on. But there needs to be some degree of like empire management, city management that is encouraged and fun. I do think, again, I don't know how much of the newer ones. I know, Brendan, you said kind of with Attila was kind of one of the last mainline ones that you played. I do think they've tried, or they have down the politics of it all, perhaps. I mean, Three Kingdoms. I don't know if Ryan, you played Three Kingdoms at all. The family system in that game is just so in depth, and I think they did that with Pharaoh and Troy, um, and so I think that that's definitely something you can that they will bring over uh, in in medieval 3, right? I mean, it's going to be so obvious. They've got all of these monarchs that you'll be playing as, and they'll have families, and I imagine that's going to be something really fun because I think the extent of it. I mean, they have a family tree in medieval 2, and you can have some fun with it, but the main way that you can pretty much manipulate it is by like killing, you know, suiciding a general you don't like to kind of make someone to kind of plan out your family line. I mean, it's kind of very simple. So yeah, I think they have the politics side of it down, and also look, I know I'll defend. I'll be the defender of Troy and Pharaoh to a degree because I do agree. Yeah, they totally bombed like publicly, right? They're not beloved by the fans whatsoever. But I as and I'm not a huge you know fan or history buff for the the Bronze Age or whatnot. my my PhD I'm getting is in contemporary history, but I will say as a Total War game goes, there is a ton of detail. The barter system that they have, I don't know in the gameplay that you watched, Ryan, where you have like actual resources, not just money. You have stone, and what is it? Food, gold. There's another resource I'm forgetting, but all of that, it builds to, I think, the complexity of infrastructure and diplomacy. So what are some things you guys want them to avoid for it to be? Because I know you see in the Discord, people are like, okay, here they're gonna mess it up. What's gonna have to happen for them to mess this up? Do you think?
I would say combat. Honestly, I think you have done. You're coming off the backs of Warhammer,
Mm,
of just like that whole mythology, that whole, I guess, fantasy of like combat systems and stuff, and trying to bring back basically line battles, right? Your shield walls, defenses. I think they're gonna have to pull from their previous games. I would say a really good example I would as a comment side of it is look at like Manor Lords in terms
mm,
of how he's been taking feedback on combat, of how like feigning back and how they set up walls in defense, adding a little bit more like details to that of how the soldier in those, it doesn't feel like you're taken out. And that's where I felt like with Troy and Pharaoh is like, oh, okay, yeah. And then you see these giant, basically mythology creatures and stuff fighting these battle lines, and it's like, why? Why would
mm-hmm.
you do this? Right? It's like, oh, I just want grunt on grunt combat, and I like that about Medieval 2 is that
Mm-hmm.
you have it to where the detail of um the armor, right? You
Right.
can see the armor. You feel like you're progressing further as the time period goes,
Mm-hmm.
in terms of how it looks. I will say on side note too, because I didn't miss this, and as you brought up the families and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
I really wish they bring back um assassins and
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah,
with the
that's a great pick.
cutscenes and stuff. That
Yeah.
was one of the great deal. And I know with the whole AI stuff, it's capable in terms of like showing that, but I don't want them to like make it to where like, oh, this looks like shit,
Mm-hmm.
right? It's just like, okay, this kind of works. Like there's some funny moments, right? You stab a dude in the bush, right?
I
Um,
forgot about the
I mean,
cinematics. Those were very
yeah,
entertaining.
yeah, they were
Yeah.
very nice. It actually, you get to use those. And again, like you had said with the resources, I hopefully they did have them in Medieval 2, but you'd buy merchants and they would
Mm-hmm.
just sit there on. So there
Right.
was a reason that those, and I get where like Pharaoh and Troy and stuff like that, those resources, it enabled you to be like, I need those resources to do things. I have to take those territories. It incentivized you to go after those, right?
Right.
Hopefully that doesn't get too hectic of like I can't do anything because there's stone or wood or whatever like on the other side of where I'm starting at, and I can't get to those
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
um early on. I know it's like the early game is I think more important than the late game, and I hope they don't screw up the early game. But the early game needs to be the most enjoyable because that's, again, most people only play games for up to like 5 hours before they like be like,
Yeah.
I'm gonna pass, right? So that's what I think. I think they need to focus on that early game and make it actually something that you don't want to sit down. You basically want to be like, oh shit, 7 o'clock in the morning, I forgot I've been playing.
You just binge playing the game. Yeah.
Yeah, because you don't think about it, right? I've done that so many times with Medieval too.
Sure. Brendan, what do you think? Anything? I know you're looking forward to this. Is there anything that an announcement or I don't know what could they do something or make a decision? You're like, oh, that's kind of annoying, that they're doing it
I
this
mean,
way.
I think I'm open to most ideas. Honestly, I think the only thing that would truly turn me off is them like nickeling and diming the player through like microtransactions and things like
Yeah.
that. But that aside, assuming that's not gonna happen, the only thing that would really worry me is combat AI, because I feel like the later you get into the
Exactly. Yep.
series, the sloppier it gets, and the
Hmm.
harder it is. It feels like your unit movement and how you control them. They don't like mesh between each other very well. They kind of run into each other and stop.
Hmm.
or like you
Mhm.
can't operate them on castle. Like remember playing Sieges and Empire and Napoleon and trying to maneuver troops on those walls?
Oh,
It
yeah.
was literally impossible, right? So
Yeah.
I
No,
love
I
them with
agree. Yeah.
with a new engine. Hopefully they can clean all those little details up, and that would make the game so much smoother and so much more enjoyable to play.
Right. If anyone from CA listens to this, which I'm sure they won't, but that is so true. The microtransactions, especially, I I can see the earth shattering if 3 years, 2 3 years, 4 years, whenever we start actually getting legit updates and content. They're like, okay, we're gonna be releasing just Western Europe first. Everyone's gonna be like, that is not what we expected. I mean, it's not out of the
That's
realm of
pretty cool.
possibility. Yeah, I mean, Warhammer was released in three, which I think was always the plan. I don't think anyone's expecting that to be the plan for Medieval 3. I think they're actually expecting a full, like you said, kind of uh, earlier, Ryan, like we want a full map. Uh, I would say probably could go all the way to India. Honestly, I mean, if we're being real, we're talking about colonialism and whatnot. I mean, Europe is this when you think of medieval too, it's primarily Europe, and you do have some Western Asia there as well, obviously Russia. But I think now is their opportunity to truly like, okay, this is they don't even have a world map, South America and all of Africa. I mean, maybe parts of Africa. That'd be impressive. Western Africa, Northern Africa, what have you, but definitely include a larger portion of Asia. There was a ton of trade between, European empires and Asian empires, and so that's something that I don't think they should miss. So I, I hope that they don't nickel and dime and do microtransactions. That would be such a travesty because I do see this as I think I said it last night too, and I've said it to a few other people today, chatting with them. Like this seems like their Dice Battlefield 6 moment, even though it's still years away. Okay, I don't know, Ryan, if you've played Battlefield 6 or if you're into that.
I played the weekend. I played
Oh, it
it's.
was
I
the
did not
free, right?
purchase.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
did the free weekend. I did enjoy it, um, but I did not purchase it because I wanted to see the reaction of people actually getting full fledged into the game first.
Sure. Yeah, I think if you it is like not it's not to sound cliche, it was definitely a return to form for Dice for the Battlefield fan base. I think 2042 by the I know like a couple months ago, now that it's free to play, I guess. Brendan and I were playing it, and yeah, I mean it's fun, but I just think that initial launch, it was so hard to come back from that. Battlefield 5 was disappointing too. Battlefield 5 kind of reminds me of Troy and Pharaoh in this sense of like everyone likes World War II. Not that everyone's a fan of Bronze Age, but just the game didn't land, and obviously that really intense reveal trailer that I think still might be the most downvoted, disliked YouTube video. It holds a record for it, maybe the most in 24 hours or something like that. So yeah, this is what I hope. This is the path that I hope Medieval 3 is on. Um, Last thing I want to bring up real quick. I didn't mention, but like there's this new fantasy game. I don't know if you guys saw. They're releasing their next, I think, mainline game announcement. The one that they're releasing next week at the Video Game Awards. I don't know, Ryan, if you read. Kind of that's their plan.
Okay. Yes.
So what's the
Yes.
deal with that?
So
What are we thinking?
so so they just from the channels, right, and talking, they did hire a lore person for Warhammer 40K.
Okay, that's so that's
So
the
it
rumor
could,
that seems like it's going to be a Warhammer
yeah. So
40K.
it looks like they're gonna continue on with the Warhammer because I think they're gonna either try to make it to where you can play the games and then continue on to Warhammer 40K. Um, but yeah, I could see them totally be like, "Here's 40K," and they're just gonna roll that out. Just because I think I don't know if they still have like Warhammer agreement licenses, so they're just trying to come up with another game just to finish it out. Because I'm not a big Warhammer person. I'm a historical person
Mhm.
through and through, but I could see them totally pushing the Warhammer, but the 40k style of it. Which I mean, some people might enjoy that; they might have more fun with it. But that's where I'm going to bank on. It's probably they're going to continue Warhammer on the hype of it, even though I think it's dying out. But and then just release a 40k that kind of it feels like a cash grab type deal. But
I've seen that
that's
though.
where I think.
Yeah, well, I've seen that's kind of what the plan is to release the next mainline game as kind of a okay, we're gonna get a ton of money from this to help with Medieval 3 development. I've seen some people think that it's gonna be Lord of the Rings. I think you're probably right based off
And
who
they
they're
definitely mentioned sci-fi in their video. It's sci-fi for sure. It's probably
okay.
40k. The safest bet.
How does that look? How do you? I don't know anything about Warhammer 40k. Is that even like? Is this in space? Does it take place in
Yeah,
space?
it's the same. It's the same factions, but now they're in space. It's just like a sci-fi version of the same conflict.
Wow.
Yeah, say this type of deal. More guns, more oriented towards that, right? You're gonna see less of the medieval style gun look to it, right? And then more towards the like machine guns and I guess like bazookas, like like that type of stuff, right? Um, but with Warhammer is such a big genre, they could totally do what they want to do with that. So, um,
Realistically, they could make just Warhammer games forever now, and they'd probably bankroll the company because like there's so much
correct,
to work with in
correct.
that franchise.
But because of how stingent Lord of the Rings is licensing is, especially since Amazon has a lot of control over that,
Yeah.
since they had bought that out for most of the licensing, especially for games. I mean, I think they talked about it this year already that they already threw away a Lord of the Rings game they're trying to come out with, like an MMO or whatever.
Yeah. Yeah.
I think we're losing the medieval fantasy side of games. Like I guess Warhammer is kind of like but I think Lord of the Rings, Game of Thrones, like they could easily do a Game of Thrones one and make good money on it because it literally just takes the mechanics of Warhammer with the bigger like creatures and stuff and just slap it on there for
A Game of
Warhammer,
Thrones
right?
would be that would be so fun.
They already missed the boat on that one though. They probably won't do
I
that
know,
now.
but
Yeah.
season 8 killed me.
Yeah, that was well. Yeah, I mean, I agree. I mean, I think I've played I don't know how many dozens of hours of Warhammer over time, and I did get Warhammer 3, and I tried some of these more far fetched factions, and I just it's it was just so much. The mechanics of it were just not they were beyond me, not grounded enough for me. I think I've done so many the Empire campaigns, and I did a couple green skins, but never really kind of moved beyond that. And they're still releasing more content for it. There's another update coming, what next winter or spring or summer? I think for Warhammer 3, another four lords. As they release them. So yeah, they're probably gonna keep milking that. There is, that Dauntless Days. I'm sure you've been following that, right? That's releasing in about 8 days. Yeah, 8 days. So there's that Lord of the Rings mod for Total War Attila, which is probably the best thing we're gonna get for a Total War fantasy Lord of the Rings currently. But
Yeah, Creative Assembly did put themselves in a really awkward spot where they created like an entire fan base based on historical based strategy games. And then they got this license, pivoted slightly, it blew up, it became a big thing, and now they have like two factions inside their own fan base. Or like one people who want like the licensed products and the other people who want a traditional historical strategy game.
yeah,
And I feel like no matter what they come out with, a certain percentage of people are gonna like blow up and be angry about whatever they announce. So now they kind of have to do like two announcements at a time to appease both sides. But I don't know how
would say
long they can keep that up.
there was a pinnacle point in which you saw it with I would say like Thrones of Britannia. I think they were like there was like the historical sagas that they were trying to
Yeah.
come out with to try to like supplement, and those didn't really take off as like I really like this. Again, like look at Rome 2. Rome 2 first came out in 2013. It was not good. I think it had a mixed review for a while.
I
And
remember
then
the
they had
memes
to-
of all the screenshots, like the graphic
and then-
pairing, the faces.
And then they had to then roll it out as like a basic whole overhaul update to try to make it to the and it's good now. People play it still and they like it, right? So I that's where like I think Medieval 3 being put on Steam compared to like Medieval 2, which it was on Steam, but you couldn't really fix it. At least
Right.
at least now with Medieval 3, if they do screw it up early on, at least they may listen. I mean, they're terrible at listening to fan feedback, but they could at least take some of it and try to fix it as it goes on, right? So that's my only hope for it.
I
is
guess
that
they have
can at least
proved
kinda
they're-
fix it.
They have proved they're willing to go back to a broken game, I guess. Like Rome 2 is a great example of that. So hopefully they'll continue that same energy going forward, assuming the game isn't
See,
everything it needs to be right away.
yeah, see, I think Three Kingdoms was a really pinnacle moment. They dropped all support for that game after maybe less than a year. I think they released.
Did it even get expansions?
It did get one or two, but they were they weren't like they were mixed, and I think there was so much potential for that game. I love Three Kingdoms is probably one of my favorite like top two Total Wars. I just think it's the scale of it is incredible. The diplomacy is really fun. The whole like embed a spy into another faction, and then there's a chance that you can, they rise up the ranks and then they take over an army, and then that's your army now. Just there's so many different opportunities and or scenarios like that in Three Kingdoms, and it was such a shame when they kind of just pushed away support for that. So we'll see. Yeah, we're I guess that's pretty much all I had. I think we did some really great discussion. We despite everything we've said, we've been talking about it, for years now. From the whole community, primarily the historical, has been, begging for Medieval 3 as like a cat, just do it, take my money. And even though we're still several years away from anything, it's coming out, and like we've talked about, let's hold out hope that it is good, and just kind of keep, expectations realistic, and see how the game is when it comes out.
Yeah, definitely. I'm just excited to get back into Total War. I hope this can be the game that makes that happen. But, we'll wait 5 years and see what happens then. Yeah, that's the one thing. I don't want to get too excited because, like, we're going to be sitting on that hype for 5 years, man. At least, probably.
Yeah.
Hey, we've been doing that for Elder Scrolls for the last decade. So
And it's killing me, my guy. It's killing me slowly.
They came out with the one trailer, and then that was it.
Oh,
Yeah,
gosh.
it's a
Whoever
shame.
was in the head of marketing at Bethesda, that was a terrible idea.
Yeah, they could have just waited.
Right? Just let's Starfield have its time, and then announce your next game. I
Just
don't
come
know.
out with another Skyrim extended edition.
Yeah, only release it for the 10th time. Yeah, people buy it.
Yeah.
They keep doing that for like Red Dead Redemption. Did they just
I
re-release
saw that.
Red
Yeah,
Dead
they announced it
Redemption?
again.
Yeah. I know Jake Baldino on his YouTube channel is like, they keep releasing this game.
And it keeps selling, so
And
why
it
not?
keeps selling.
That's the one problem with it.
It's like Call of Duty, man. You can't. How many Black Ops do you need?
Apparently 7, because apparently no one liked this one. So I think he found the number.
Oh
You have
god,
to lucky
yeah.
number 7.
Yeah, right?
Wow. Yeah, that was
Here, one parting question. If there's like one specific feature that you'd love to see in this game, like what would it be? I'll start. For me, I'd love to see you having to actually organize your line of succession and stealing that feature from Crusader Kings, where let's say you have 2 sons and you don't properly organize your line of succession or like pick the right things, and if your leader dies, now instead of having the whole nation under just your oldest son, maybe it splits into 2, and one son claims one portion, the other son claims the other, and now you have to fight essentially a civil war to reclaim the territory you already had. I think it'd make things.
Like a little bit like
Yeah,
Charlemagne.
exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like I would love to see more like internal conflict to make it harder, because like you said earlier, once you start to snowball, you just keep building more stacks, taking more cities, and it's too easy. So I'd love for them to make things more difficult internally to maintain what you already have. And I think that'd be a great way of doing it.
I do think the loyalty system for Three Kingdoms kind of uh, it's not that in depth, and I think they definitely need to add like this specific features like you're describing from some other strategies. But I know like in Three Kingdoms they
I remember Rome 2 had a civil war like event that could happen.
I
I
think
forget how it
your
happened.
unrest or something. I think
Yes,
it's not.
that was it. Like if
yeah
they could take something like that and expand on it, I think that'd be a really cool feature.
yeah yeah no I think something that I would add specifically would probably and I guess it's actually kind of still broad and I don't I'm trying to think what specifically I'd want them to add, but and it's probably just because I have a fascination with diplomacy, just kind of more in-depth diplomacy options. Like make it. You really have to take time to when you're negotiating with another faction or individual, and don't just let it be the faction, perhaps, but maybe the actual general that you are, uh, or or lord, what male, female that you are negotiating with. What are their interests? Okay, yeah, give them some personality. And again, I don't want it to be like a hot take because I think one of the kind of the criticisms is that a lot of Creative Assemblies games recently have been leaning too much into the whole character instead of the kind of the on the ground soldier, which I think they need to have that too. Like you should care about your army that you build up, and whatnot. But I think I actually kind of like that there's this, an emphasis as well on characters. I do think I know we've talked about this before. They need to bring back that you can just recruit a war band. Not have just a general create to lead an army. Just have if you want to recruit 100 swordsmen, okay, then let us do that. I don't think they're going to do that probably. I feel like they're so set in their ways in every games now. Uh, but that would be something cool to see. So I guess I just kind of listed off two, sort of. But that's what I'd like to see.
I'll go off with two then, since you did two. Really want to go back into cinematic cutscenes and
Yeah,
kind
that
of
was a great
like
suggestion.
I think bringing that back from Medieval 2, because that was like one of the best things I liked about it, is the assassin cutscenes and how they kill people. Especially if they're adding in obviously like families and stuff like that, right? Um, you're gonna have like, I guess, more personal reaction to it. And then secondly, on the diplomacy side, I think it'd be kind of cool to kind of take in as an example, um, from like Europa or one of those like Paradox side games, coalitions. I think if you get too greedy, you should be able to. I think other nations should be able to be like, whoa, um, we're gonna like band together and actually fight you. So it would make it to where you're finally on a defensive instead of an offensive war,
Mm-hmm.
and I'll have to change your gameplay because of your greed. So I think that it's a great way to like pick your battles, pick your war better in that sense. So that's how I would do it, instead of being like, oh, they're just allied. Okay, whatever. They're like three alliances. They're all shit. I got them. No, you got like 7 different nations who are willing to fight you because you're getting too greedy, especially if like Catholic, Protestant, you know what I mean? That type of stuff too, like Islam, like religion added into
Oh
it,
yeah,
right?
they really need
So
to. Yeah, absolutely. That should definitely be a huge mechanic. Not and beyond just religious unrest. I think at this point they have to add in some sort of maybe more
I'd
in
love
depth.
if you could establish your own church. That'd be awesome.
Oh man, that's the kind of
Create your own
creativity.
sect of Christianity.
Yeah.
They did that in Crusader Kings. I'm stealing Crusader Kings ideas at this point, but they're all pretty fun. That game's popular
that's
for a reason, right?
that's the inspiration they should be looking at, is what is the latest medieval games that have been such a hype, and what can we add that people like from those. Again, they need to get a lot more of the fans involved in terms of like, what do you guys want to see actually play them, right? I think a lot of like AAA games or whatever have really lost the mark on that, is by not listening to their fans, Or don't listen to streamers. That's a big thing. No offense.
Oh,
Don't listen to streamers. Listen to your fans, not the streamers, because I get that they promote your games and stuff, but they have a certain play style that they only play, especially FPS games too, and they just or best bet, and I'm just gonna call it Legend of Total War. Listen to that man because he will break your freaking game. If you don't listen to him to fix your game and make it better, that's a mistake. That's the only call out name I'll do because I think that gentleman understands game mechanics so well to the point of exploitation.
Yeah, I've watched his videos a lot in the past to like purposely cheat for Medieval 2 just to, you know,
Oh, I've done it. Yeah, it's such a genius. Some of the things like, oh, you're so right. Just to
yeah,
win battles that you're gonna win, and it's cheesing, right? You're cheesing the game, which it shouldn't exist.
yeah.
It shouldn't be able to happen.
One more honorable mention, which is very cliche, is just naval combat. Um,
Thank you.
which
I was gonna get there too. Yup.
yeah,
They should add
that
it in
should come
medieval.
back.
I don't know how they're gonna do it. I know they had basically ships in Medieval 2, but I'm trying to figure out how they can add that besides it being, I think, how that combat worked. I don't know how naval combat worked in Medieval. I haven't
Uh,
really dug into it per se,
I mean, I think it's
but
kind of
I,
just sort of similar. I don't know, Brendan, do you have an idea about? I think it's just kind of ramming and boarding.
I mean, yeah, archers and ram. It's more. I mean, if they could just take the naval combat system from Shogun 2 and like polish it a bit, it's the same stuff. You know, archers, ramming,
Right.
that kind of thing. Fire arrows.
Yeah. Yeah, they need to
I mean,
add
it would
that.
definitely be less interesting than like the modern naval combat, like or like with cannons and bigger ships, but it's still worth exploring. I think it's better than auto resolving everything. You know?
Yeah. Yeah. Well, any final points, guys? Anyone want to final passing words before we?
Yeah, I just want to circle back to what Ryan said at the start, where hopefully them announcing this so early means they're gonna like listen to community input. Maybe they'll
Mm,
consult YouTubers like the one you mentioned. You know, instead of just announcing it and releasing it and everyone hating it, they announce it so early. Maybe even do an early access period and just let people tell them what they want. Hopefully they listen. You know, that's all we can really hope for at this point. Otherwise, I'm just gonna try and temper my expectations and maybe actually buy a new PC for this game. We'll see.
dude, yes. Let's go. Make a good game. I've been waiting for this moment for like so long. Ryan, you have anything? Any final?
yes, one thing. Please do speeches. I want to hear my general do
Oh,
a speech
yes. Yeah.
harassing
Oh
the
yeah.
shit.
That was great.
So bad. I loved the Scottish general just bad mouthing the shit out of the English. It was fantastic, and it made me want to fight
You
harder.
hog
Those
knocking,
are the
pig
things we need to
licking.
add.
Yeah.
Yes, especially the French talking shit to the Germans or whatever. It's just so funny, and it just makes the game so much more immersed. And they can do it. Please do it, especially for like combat games. I feel like you lose those, you lose that type of stuff later on. And
Sure.
that's my 2 cents.
You're so right that the older games had so much charm, like the failure
Mhm.
cutscenes, the speeches. Like I forgot about all those details, but that's what made the game. Because everything else is just kind of copy paste standard Total War gameplay. But like those were the little features and polishes that made that game like so replayable.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, that's our thoughts are out, will be out there, and hopefully, like you said, there's really no excuse for them to make a bad game. I guess barring another pandemic, that would really mess things up and put mess up crunch time and everything. It's got plenty of time for to implement ideas. They know what fans want, to polish it, and let's just hope for the best. So thanks guys for this conversation, and I'm glad that we could do this on last minute. All right, everyone. Hope you enjoyed this first Super Talks. Let us know what you thought in the comments below. If you want us to talk about any specific Total War related or kind of pop culture, entertainment, video game, movie related conversation going forward, drop us a comment down below, and we'll look into that for sure. We always appreciate the conversation continuing. So thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you on the next one.